Hi, and thanks for buying EasyFold. EasyFold is a special tool designed to help with a Mercury card fold. It's designed to look like a card protector, a card guard that you'll put over any regular deck of cards. So we're going to start. You'll notice here it's got a little square cut out. That is our guide to help with the fold itself. So you're going to put your deck in with the back side, so the face, the flap will be at this long back here. The back of the deck will be where the card fold is. So the long full protection is where the flap of the deck is, the flap of the box. The other side is here on that fold. Before we get into the actual mechanics of this isn't something that's going to do the work for you. You're still going to have to learn the moves. So you might ask, well, why don't I just learn the Mercury card fold? This is designed to aid in that process. So it's going to do very similar to what the Mercury fold does, but it's going to help and ensure that you get it much more lined up, much more square, and much more confidence in doing it. For me, I've learnt the Mercury card fold, and I've never really managed to pull it off to a decent enough level that I'm happy, so that when I switch the card at the end, it looks like the same folded card. It's a real problem. For those who don't know, the Mercury card fold, you're going to pull down until it hits exactly in the middle, and then you're going to use your thumb to push and squeeze. Now, this isn't a bad one, to be honest, and then squeeze underneath. I mean, that's not a bad one, but it's still quite a long way out. I'm taking my time with that, and I'm trying my best to get it right. What EasyFold will do is help with the guiding, help give you something to press against, give you something to push against. Plus, it's going to be done while the cards are put away, while the cards are put into the deck. So it kind of, almost like an extractor, if you will, like the Alakazam extractor. It takes a lot of that pressure off you. So you're not going to have to palm out the card. You're not going to have to fold the card when the card's just been inserted. So we'll get into the handling. What you are going to have to do is to control the card to the bottom of the deck. You can use whatever control you want. I have two ways that I do it. I'll push it in and then steal it off with a little side steal to bring it to the bottom, or I will use my regular control, which is a pressure fan. I squeeze, they put the card back in, they can't push it in far enough. I rotate, and now I've got two options to do this. I can turn the deck this way and push here, leaving that card at the bottom of the deck as I shuffle everything else on top. So the selected card goes to the bottom. Or quite often what I do is my regular way. So I will shuffle the card to the top. Here it is. And then from there, I will then shuffle that card to the bottom of the deck. So whichever way you want to do it, you can do the convincing control, I guess, which would be, let's use the same card every time, not to get you confused. We'll use the King of Hearts. So the convincing control, the card gets put back in the deck. I make a double here, show it from here, and then from the top you can see that it stays there, and what I'm actually doing is loading it on the bottom of the deck. So you do it however you want to do it. You can do your double cuts, bring it to the top, and then shuffle it to the bottom. However you want to bring it to the bottom, that's the important thing. You need to get it to the bottom of the deck. You now need, from the bottom of the deck, you now need a pinky break. So my bottom card is the selected card. I'm going to pinky break it here. There's a few ways you can do that. I sometimes do a little push off with the fingers and grab a big break there, or just do a little pull down with the pinky. Whatever you want, however you want to do it, just make sure you've got a big pinky break there. From here, we're going to have the flap upwards, and I'm going to place the deck in to the corner of the cards here, keeping the pinky break as I push the cards in. Now from here, I'm going to grab that card and pull it into the guard as I'm pushing the rest of the cards in. So it shouldn't really look like anything. Get my pinky break, push it in. The finger comes around and pulls that down as I'm pushing the cards in. Very, very quick, very simple to do. As I'm pushing those cards in, right at the last minute, I will now push up with my finger here to be able to push down on that card. So I push the king up, the selected card, I push that up. And as I'm pushing it up, I'm kind of pushing it, I'm doing like a little pinch with my fingers here to make sure that it's pushed against the side of the guard there, keeping it right up against this wall. Push that down, and then I pull it back down, and I'm just pushing everything into that corner. So I push up, get a little bit of a space, and then push everything into that corner, and I pull down, and that's automatically going to want to fold over that piece. So you're going to get it folded in exactly the right place. So I just push it down and fold. From here, I can do a little flash if I want. I don't need to, but I can do a little flash as I grab the top and I'm putting the top back in. As I'm pushing that back in now, my middle finger goes in here and kind of just reaches and starts to pull. Once I've got just a tiny little bit of a break there, it kind of breaks, not a break, not a finger break, it kind of breaks the card just a little bit. As soon as I've got that, the rest of the hands come in, and I now start to squeeze against that brace there. From here, I can squeeze, I can show again, both sides. And now as I transfer the cards to the opposite hand, I push out the folded card, push it into the palm, and from here, now we've got a much better folded card. So I'll show you again. We'll stick with the king. Bit more up to speed. Card goes in, control to the bottom, little finger break. The flap is facing up. I put the corner of the card. The reason I'm doing this is just to make sure that I can feed, just make sure that only that pinky selected card with the pinky break, that's the only one that goes back. So I want to make sure that I'm getting all of the cards into the box by touching everything into that corner. I can now feed those round, pull the selected card into position, push it back up as I come down to close the box. I can show the bottom of the box, the finger goes in, comes across, squeezes, and now we've got a lovely folded Mercury card. One more time for you, we'll do it a little slower and we'll try and break it down a little bit. Selected card, control to the bottom, I get my pinky break. You can just push this across if you're struggling with a pinky. As you're holding it in your hand, just push the bottom card and then grip and pull everything. It's not a difficult move to get at all. The corner feeds into the box, rotates everything in. I start to push with my finger of the left hand, like the index finger pushes the cards in, but also the middle finger of my right hand now slides that card down into the gimmick as everything else is pushed in. Then just a little pop-up, you don't really need the pop-up, but it just aids the handling just a little bit. So it just pops up and I can now get that little push much easier. So that little pop-up, pop it up. As soon as I've got my finger there, I bring it back down. Using these fingers, bring it back down and push across. So everything is tight, fixed in that corner. It just starts, and I think you can start to see it's automatically going to fold over that crease. Once it's folded, I can do a little flash to turn over if I want. It's not needed, the flash, but from all intents and purposes, you're putting the deck away, so there's nothing really here to see. As I'm pushing this over to close it up, my middle finger just finds an edge on that card. As soon as it starts to pull just a little bit, the rest of the fingers come in, pull across, so it's folding across. As soon as I get to here, I can squeeze. I come up out of the guide and squeeze a little bit more and push that into the fingers. One more time at speed. Pinky break, cards go in, pull down, push up, fold, close the lid, pull across. Now here, just there, it didn't quite, it started to fold a little bit early, and I can tell straight away. So all I need to do is just to walk my fingers in just a little bit until I can get that top edge right against the corner. I can feel the guide, pull it up, squeeze, and that again just corrects itself and gives me a lovely mercury folded card. So I'm glad that happened, actually, because it will sometimes happen where it'll just, you're trying to get a little guide in the fold. So as we push this down, let's see if we can get it to happen again. So as I'm pushing down, it can't really go anywhere else. I'm not trying to force it against there. These fingers here underneath are keeping it tucked in, pulled down and into the corner there. So I'm using my thumb against the back of the box, against the card guard, the gimmick itself, pushing with that, and I'm kind of like pulling into the corner. So I'm pushing this card over into this corner. If I didn't, there's a little bit of wiggle room, because obviously the card is smaller than the box, so there's a little bit of wiggle room. So it's been designed so that it pushes right against this corner. The hand just pushes it down and it automatically wants to fold. And then as soon as it's like, there's no crease in there, but as soon as it gets to there, I squeeze with the finger. And that'll give me that fold. A little squeeze gives me the fold perfectly in position there. And again, everything's pushed up against this wall, against this guide. My middle finger's going to come, and there again, yeah, perfect. So it's starting to fold just a little bit early. So I can walk it over until I know that it's against there. So my fingers, let's put it back to where it was if we can. So from here I can kind of walk it across until I feel the guide, then I squeeze. So you fold it in here, you've squeezed. You can leave it there, put the cards down, pick it up later on whenever you want. You can take it off with the left hand into finger palm. My preference is to take it up and take it across into the right hand. But obviously, whichever way you're going to use to produce the card, that's how you want it in the left hand or the right hand. So pull it up, across, and into the hand. So it's now palmed here. And it fits perfectly into the finger palm. And it's all done underneath the box. So as I say, I like to palm it into the right hand for my production here. My routine is very, very simple. I'll show you how I switch the note, and then we'll go into the little routine itself. So this has been out in display the whole time. The spectator's been holding it, or it's been on the table, whatever it is. So I've got my finger palmed in the right hand. This has been in the spectator's hand the whole time. I'm going to come up and grab the top of the note with keeping this hand closed and kind of rotate so that the note now covers the palm card. So I kind of like steal it off from here as I point to the note. So I've got it finger palmed here. The hand comes up. I can leave it on the hand if I like, or I can just come across and just pinch from here as I talk about the note. Now there's no real move to this at all. All I'm going to do is just pull this away with the thumb on top and rotate the note. So it's going to look like I'm pulling this off, Maybe if I stand up, it's a little better. So from here, it's going to look like I'm just pulling it off. And all I'm doing is just turning this over and making a little flicking noise from here. So I just say, you've got the note here. Look like I'm going to pull it off and pull it. Once this is taken off, You can see that it's clear. I can pop that in the pocket, get it out of sight, out of mind, pull this off as I hand this out. Everyone's interested in the card here. It's a very strong illusion. I just hand it out. I've got €5 here. And paperclip to it is a playing card. Not important what that is right now. We'll come back to that in a minute. What is important is that you know that that's there and I'm not going to touch it. All right? Got some cards.
Yeah.
I want you to have a look through them, make sure they're all different, and you choose any one that you like. Don't let me see it. So, like on instinct, whichever one whichever one takes your fancy, whichever one you like the look of, take it out and write your name across this side of the card. All right?
Going down.
Anywhere you like. You can write your name, you can draw a picture, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Perfect. Pop it back in. Anyway, you want to shuffle them up. You put the top back on the pen. Okay. Now, I don't want to be accused of doing any sleight of hand at all. So we're going to put the cards back in the card box. Close that up there. Now, that's been there the whole time.
That's correct, yeah.
You can see it's been clipped to it. You hold on to that. If you get this wrong, you win the £5, all right? Would you be amazed if that card matches the card that you chose? You got a free choice, yeah?
I would be very amazed. They're very amazed.
What about if it matched it exactly?
It's impossible. There's no way it can match because I just had the cards. I'll be amazed if it is the card.
You took a card, you wrote your name on it,
yeah.
we put it back in there, no one's touched a thing, that's
No.
been there the whole time.
Correct.
Have a look at that card.
Shut up! How is that possible? I just watched you. How is that possible? You've confused me. How have you done that? You've really confused me. But how? Because I just took it out. So how can it be on?
So with my routine, I come out with this. You can do it as a bet or whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to be paperclip to money. Anything that's bigger and big enough to hide this note. There's a million ways to produce a Mercury card folded card. Sankey's paperclipped is a very, very simple and cheap way of doing it if you don't want to go for more expensive props. Kennedy's mystery box is the classic for this this move, really. Mark Southworth's got a ton of stuff on it. David Penn, David Regal, David Stone, Danny Garcia. Loads of people have done loads of work with the Mercury card fold. Depending when you got this, you might have got this to go along with my Podify release. There's lots and lots of routines, but they're all a very similar one. This is a very simple one that I've come up with myself that I've used an awful lot in a lot of different routines. This will be out in full display the entire time. It's a note, it can be a piece of paper, it can be anything, just something that's big enough to cover that palmed piece. I don't bring real attention to what this card is or what it's going to be later on. I just say that it's important that you know that this is out in the open and it's been there since before we start this trick. So with that in mind, let's get started. I like the spectators to go through the deck themselves and remove the card themselves. Rather than doing a pick a card trick for this, it is a pick a card, but I'd like them to actually go through and physically choose which one they want. That's just it makes it a little bit more impossible that it can't be a duplicate card, that it's very unlikely to be a duplicate card. We're going to get them to sign it anyway, but I prefer them to just manually choose one rather than thinking they could all be the same card or whatever it is. I want them to go in and actually make a conscious decision of what card they're going to pick. Then they write their name on it. Then I take the card back. The card box is in your pocket or on the table or whatever. Control the card to the bottom and say, no, I don't want you to think I'm doing anything sneaky or funny. We're going to put the cards away so that we isolate them. Your card isn't really important at this point. What is important at this point is this card on the table. I say you've been holding on to this card since before we even started. At that point, I transfer it into the hand, bring it up. This card is the most important thing we need to look at. Pull it off, put this away, hand out the card, and obviously that is the signed matched prediction. That's a routine. If you want to go with it, you're welcome to go with it. I do like the routine. I do use it a lot. It does get great reactions. It's very, very simple. It's not over convoluted. It's not using these weird boxes, which I do love. I'm not knocking them at all. This is very, very organic though. My Podify is very organic too. Whichever one you've got, I assume that you probably already have a routine if you bought this. If you have done that, then you probably have experience with working a basic Mercury fold anyway. If you haven't, you don't need to learn it. You can start straight out with this. The tool itself, the gimmick itself, I've never had anybody call out or ask what it is or mention what it is. I think it's a pretty standard thing to have a plastic card guard on your deck of cards. I think people have seen these before. People don't think it's an unusual thing to have. I've never had anyone question it. I don't think I've even had anyone notice it, to be honest, but I've certainly never had anyone question me about it. So don't worry about it. Get it on any deck, get your new box, pop it in there, and you're ready to go again. The only thing little tip that I would say is that if you're doing this time and time again, your deck inside the box is going to get thinner and thinner because you're giving out cards or whatever you're going to do. So when you start to push against the deck, when you're using pressure to do the fold, if it's not a full deck, it's going to start to bow a little bit. It might start to damage your deck a little bit. It might throw the fold out by a millimeter or so because the gap here in between is much bigger when it's an empty box, or there's 10 or 15 cards gone. There's like 10 cards going out of this, so it's starting to make a little bit of a difference. For 2 or 3 cards going out, there's no issue at all. When you start to get to about 10, then it might start to be an issue, and then you might start want to look at using a fresh deck again. But 10 cards should get you through a night's performance anyway. Like I say, thanks for buying Easy Fold. It's a great utility tool. Dig out those old boxes from your bottom drawer, the ones that you put away because you couldn't quite get the match. Have a go with this. It will take a little practice to get the knack right. It's like I say, it's not going to do the work for you. What this does is give you a guide for your Mercury folded card. So with that in mind, get out, get practicing, and thanks a lot.